for example, Carl Sagan wrote a book called Contact, which I read years ago. So he calls Carl Sagan and he says, there's a thing called a wormhole, and let me describe it to you. So he describes this thing to Carl Sagan. Carl Sagan puts it in a book. Meanwhile, Kip Thorne, who's like this, he's a Nobel Prize winning physicist, basically starts thinking about wormholes and gets the entire world interested in wormholes. So now wormholes are like this big topic of exotic physics. And it came from Carl Sagan asking this guy, like, how do you think I could do it? I mean, it's super interesting because, they have this thing called a warp drive, right?
Mm.
So it turns out that there's this a physicist in South America, Miguel Alcubierre, who basically is a big Star Trek fan. And there are a lot of people who, the person who discovered CRISPR at Berkeley, the woman who discovered CRISPR at Berkeley, was a big Star Trek fan. So Star Trek actually inspired a lot of people. So this whole warp drive thing, Miguel Alcubierre, actually, he was an expert in general relativity. He comes up with a metric, this thing called a metric in general relativity, that would enable you to do a warp, like a warp bubble. So this is a big topic of research today. Is like warp bubbles.
Wow.
So there's a lot of like cross pollination between reality and fiction, and specifically science fiction.
Mm.
So I was at some point I was really motivated to say, okay, there may be things that I've imagined that fit into our whole sociology and world thing, and psychology and whatnot. So let's see, let's explore that. Let's see what we can do. Let's see how technology and human nature can sort of cross pollinate each other to produce something that's interesting for people to read.